we need to ask ourselves, what do I want? Am I willing to do what it takes to get that? And if the answer is no, then be at peace. Look, I don't want to do what it takes. Good, then you got to be at peace with that. But it's that in-between thing of saying you want something, but not being prepared that kills us because it's unclear. It's all good if you say, you know what? I don't really care about getting to XYZ in my business. I just want to cruise for now. And I'm good with that. If you really are good with that, great, be good with it. But then don't half want stuff.
Hello, and welcome to Small Business Pivots. I'm your host, Michael Morrison, a small business coach who helps guide small businesses from struggle to success. Go to michaeldmorrison.com to learn more. On our podcast, we explore the pivots that small business owners have made to build successful businesses doing $1 million and more in annual revenue. Our guest today is Jeanne Omlor. She is a business strategist, 7-figure online business coach, and certified servant leadership executive coach. At 54 years old, she was a solo parent in deep debt and got herself online and to $1 million in just 17 months without ads, and has since scaled to multi-millions in 4 years. Her company has helped over 380 businesses to thrive online. She is emotionally connected to helping others make money as she lived in lack for years and overcame that mindset. She's now helping as many people as she can to maximize profits and reach their full potential while being the visionary they're destined to be. Let's get to our guest today to learn how she pivoted from significant debt to owning a multi-million-dollar company in just a matter of months, so you have the blueprint to do the same. All right, welcome to another Small Business Pivot. We have a very special guest. How are you today?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you, Michael?
Fantastic as well. So where in this beautiful world are you coming to us from?
I am in Clearwater, Florida.
Clearwater, Florida. If I were to visit there or a listener visit there, what's your favorite thing to do there that's a must do?
Well, go to Clearwater Beach, but I go to Clearwater Beach like north.
Okay.
There's also very beautiful is Honeymoon Island.
Ooh, that sounds beautiful. So, all right. See, we wouldn't have known to go north. So I appreciate you sharing that. Have you always lived there?
No, we've only been here a year, actually.
Okay. And you're from originally?
Okay, long story. I'll make this short.
All right.
Born in California, moved to Australia with me and my 9 siblings and 2 parents. I'm from a family of 10. Moved to Australia when there were no Americans there, like 1970. Grew up in Australia. And then I lived for 8 years in Europe on my own. I was just, that adventurous person. Yeah. So I lived 6 of those years were in Paris. And then I moved to New York 1998 and lived in New York for 19 years. Then I lived in Cincinnati for about 5 years. And then we've been in Clearwater for about a year.
So as a world traveler, where was your favorite place of all those?
Well, it's funny. Parts of your heart get lost. Pieces get stuck in different cities. So part of my heart is still in Paris. And part of my heart is in New York. And then, of course, part of my heart is in Perth, where I grew up. So I was thinking about that. I thought there's 3 places where there's like these different parts: Perth, Paris, New York, very different cities,
Yeah, for sure. Well, I haven't explored the world like you have. I hope to someday soon, but so that's great information. So as you were growing up, so we help small business owners pivot their business. Most of them are stuck. And so they like to hear kind of upbringings of other entrepreneurs, just so we can be relatable. What was kind of your upbringing like, so that we can get a little slice of the pie of kind of what your mindset is today.
It's so funny. I was just thinking about this yesterday. And I am from a very practicing Catholic traditional family, very loving parents. My dad was a brilliant mathematician and theologian. My mother was a very good homemaker. Of course, that was a 50s couple. I have 6 sisters and 3 brothers. One of my sisters passed away, unfortunately, 2 years ago from cancer. Sorry, it's still very new to me. So yeah, we just had a very unusual upbringing that my family decided to move us to Australia.
Any reason why?
They did not agree with the Vietnam War and what was going on. And they weren't hippies. They were pretty conservative, but they were just thinkers. They were like, we don't agree with all this. This is craziness. and a lot was going on, like late 60s, early 70s in California. They're like, let's just go somewhere quiet. So we had a very unusual upbringing. And it kind of made me realize from a very young age that anything is possible. When you see all these people move, and it was hard then. There were hardly any flights to Australia. You had to wait for the Qantas flight, And when you see that this is possible to move all these people all across the world, when there was not a lot of travel going on then internationally, 1970, it opens your mind that anything's possible, literally.
Yeah.
So that was my first conditioning, is that, well, we just did this, whereas a lot of people are like, oh, I can't move to that next town over there. It's too far,
Right.
Right.
And scary too. A
Yeah.
lot of us don't like change growing up. So that's awesome.
Right. So this was something that was in my mind, that moving around was no big deal. So that's how I could travel. It was like, people are like, how can you travel and move in different places? I said, well, we moved to Australia. So yeah, I'm going to move and I'm going to live in Paris. And most people can't, just so that did open my mind up globally. And I was very adventurous. I just wanted to explore the world when I was younger, and I did.
That's beautiful. So you came from a studious family, it sounds like, mathematician. Your parents were well educated.
Absolutely.
Was that a big thing in your family growing up?
Actually, funnily enough, my parents were not at all, they were not stressing us out about that. It was, whatever you're going to do, do what you want to do, but that we did not have a lot of pressure about grades or schooling ever.
Interesting.
Because they just weren't focused so much on that. Of course, they wanted us to get good grades, of course, but they were not pushing us at all.
It's amazing how our upbringing can really affect us as we're older. I always say, it's interesting how children are guided. We're being told what we can and can't do, but then we become adults, and then we're afraid to do anything at all, unless somebody tells us what to do.
I never had that. But, what's interesting is because the focus was not on money, but on spirituality, that the money story was, money's not important. So that did affect me. It's like, money's not important. And by the way, my dad had a lot of money and lost it overnight. So it's like, oh, so the money story was like, oh, if I make a lot of money, I'm probably going to lose it. That's somewhere in your subconscious that I had to go through. So I was like an artist type, and money was not important to me at all. I was the most unmaterialistic person you could meet. And people were astonished. I was, oh, I don't care about money. And they're like, but you got to care. I said, I don't care at all. God provides. Okay. Yes. But then I got to a point where I was like, wait, I better start caring a little bit about money. And it changed my money story, that money's a good thing. And, I have kids, and I'm a solo parent now. So money's important. And also, you're getting older. You want to have some money, because I don't believe that I want the government taking care of me, and that would be a pretty bad job if they're taking care of me, by the way.
That's a whole different podcast there.
Yes. So, all of that, there is, even my upbringing was good, but there's, but money is not that important, but yeah, it is. Yeah. So, but I'm grateful for that, because none of my siblings are money hungry or greedy. Some of us do very well. I'm a millionaire,
yeah.
But it's not my focus. It's not my focus is to be a good person. And I'm still practicing and, honor people and God, right? Do the right thing. And sure, I want to make a lot of money. It's fun, and I want to have security, and, there's nothing wrong with that. So sure, I want more money because I'm going to give it away. And, I embrace that part now, which I didn't used to embrace.
That's powerful. And I think every small business owner, entrepreneur should hear that, especially those that are wanting to start a business, because so many of them start off thinking of the Tesla they're going to buy and the house they're going to live in. And it's like, if that's what's driving you, that's not going to sustain long run. And that's kind of what you're saying.
Actually, the funny thing, I'm laughing. I have a Tesla. It's been the best investment ever, because it hardly costs anything, but that's another whole story. It looks good. It's great. And it's really economical. But it's interesting. Once you make your first million, because, you are motivated at that point. And I started, I was 54 when I got online, and I'd had years of life. I did make good money at one point, but not what I make now. And I was in deep debt, poverty as a starving actress. And so I've been through all that. But once you get to the first million, there has to be more about money, or you can't sustain it, because that's fun. But then what now? If you don't love what you do and love serving people, it's meaningless. You can't sustain getting to the next million and the next, because it's just, oh, I'm just making money. So that's what people don't get. Then you become empty and what am I doing? And, does this matter? And, that's where you would go. But because I'm really, really heart-based and I'm emotionally connected to helping people make money, because I don't want them to go through what I went through, that drives me. And I'm so thrilled when we help change somebody's life, that they're making more money with their business. I work with coaches, consultants, and online service providers now. That's a mission. So there's that mission as well. And I think that's a good mission because it's godly to help other people as well.
Yeah. Yeah. We work with small business owners, and for those that are doing less than $1 million, kind of one of their milestones they want to hit is to hit the $1 million.
Yes.
And more often than not, when they do, their first comments out of their word is, I thought I would feel different. Nope. Nope. It's just another number.
I felt different. I couldn't believe it when I got online, and I was in deep debt. Okay. And got online and I got myself to $1 million in 17 months with no ads, hardly anybody helping me. I didn't even notice it. And I thought, what have I made? And I did all the numbers. I thought, I hit $1 million like a couple of months ago. I was like, did I? I had to pinch myself. I was like, I can't believe this.
Yeah.
Really? No, that's not. Is that true? I really had to check 5 times.
That's cool.
I was like, wow, I did that. It is mind blowing when you do it quickly from nothing and you're, in deep debt. It was mind blowing.
So let's talk about those pivots that you made, because that's what we're trying to help small business owners that are stuck. Most of them plateau. They're kind of stuck working in the business, not on the business. But you've got a secret formula here that you'd love to share. So let's talk about some of those pivots you made in life, going from not having money to getting started on a business at 54. How did that transpire?
Okay, so I had a business for 8 years at 54 already. I was already a coach offline, and that was using offline methods. And I was, mom of 2, and I homeschooled and all sorts of stuff during that time. So I managed, when I was living in New York, to get to 100K one year, like the 3rd year of my business, I think it was, even though I was not working that many hours. And that to me was amazing, taking care of my kids on my own and all that. But I thought, oh, gee, I got to get online because I want this to grow. But then things happened. You had to move to another city and all sorts of stuff.
Yeah.
Got into deep debt. And that point, I was going into deep debt, and I was living in the Midwest, where people don't really invest in their businesses as readily as in New York. Okay. So I was going to all this, and I'm really good at networking. I was teaching that. I'm really good at marketing, all of that. It wasn't me, it was them. There just wasn't a market. And so I was getting into deep debt. I was taking care of my kids as well, and just making sure they were okay, and doing all their lessons. And I always invested in any lessons that my kids needed, because I thought, I'm not going to skimp on that education or development, because I know in the end I'm going to make money. And I'm really glad that I did that, because in the end I made money and it's all good. Right. And I didn't skimp or regret that I didn't do that. Piano, sports, arts, you name it, they got those lessons. So when I was 54, I was not feeling great. I was full of anxiety, and I was getting in deeper debt before COVID, by the way. I woke up and I thought, I need to change something. I'm 54 now. I'm really good at what I do, but I'm not in the right market. The people that need to see me, I'm not connected to them. Now, often with businesses, you can be fantastic at what you do. You can have the best pies in the world. But if your pie shop is in a dark alley with rats that nobody wants to go into, you have the best pies in the whole world and nobody will be able to buy them. That was me as a coach. I was good, but I wasn't in front of my market. So I woke up that morning and I thought, I'm so full. I thought, what am I going to do? My kids are going to see at some point that I'm failing, because everything was on credit. So they couldn't see that. We had good food, nice place to live. And I didn't want them to have that hardship of knowing that we didn't have money. So I thought, I need to change this. So, and a voice said to me, if not now, when? I thought, okay, I have to climb that huge mountain that I don't know of getting an online business. I thought, I got to do this. So I got out of bed and I started looking for coaching programs to help me just get online. And I found one. It was 10K, and I plunked down 10K on 3 different credit cards just to be able to get in more debt. And I went in, and it turned out they were teaching Facebook ads, which I can't do. You can't just do Facebook ads from scratch. They won't work. Okay, you have to first have an offer that's validated online organically, and get clients and validate it and test it and have proof of concept. Then when you're making a lot of money and have a budget for ads, now I know a lot about this. I don't think any coaches or consultants or service providers should even run ads. unless they're at least 50, 60K months, because then you can sustain the loss that you will lose. So I go in and I said, well, I'm not going to do Facebook ads. What do? They said, do something called organic marketing. And I literally said, what, like carrots? Because I didn't know anything. That's how naive I was about online marketing. They went, no, Jeanne, not like carrots. I said, well, what is this? There's no trainings. They said, well, you just go talk to people. Go talk to people online. I said, that's the training. Okay, well, I'm desperate. So I'm desperate now, and now deeper in debt. And I thought, I just got to make this work. And I literally had told myself, I am not doing the offline ever again. I'm not going to do all that. It wasn't sustainable to be out there networking kids and school. And I thought, no more. So I thought, whoa, I just burnt that bridge psychologically. I'm not going back. And it was depressing because it wasn't working. It was so much energy to try to get one client. I thought, this has to work. It just has to work. So it was so stressful, but I figured out organic marketing, like how to get clients from my social media accounts without ads. I only had Facebook then. And I got my first high ticket client on like the last week of August 2019. And I got 2 more, I got 3. And I was charging only 5K then. I made 15K in 1 week. It was the most I ever made in my life. And we danced around. The first one, we were dancing and celebrating. My daughters had seen what I was going through, like just nonstop working, trying to figure this out. I cracked a code and people were like, how did you do that so simply? And I started getting clients, coaches coming to me. Luckily, then the next month I made 30K. The next month I made 40K. The next month I made 50K. COVID started 3 months later. I was already positioned and I was in a position to help other people get online. So and then I got to $1 million in 17 months.
That's amazing. And what you just shared may not sound very powerful, but it is, because I see so many business owners where they keep doing the same thing, expecting different results. And so what you're saying is it starts from here. It starts within, and you got to take action yourself, because I always say you got to take care of number one first, because no one else is going to, right? And that's kind of what you're saying a little bit on. It was self-driven.
It was really like, this isn't working. And I wasn't in denial about it working. I just had other things. And I thought it was more about, I've got to like man up, woman up, right? Yeah. For the next challenge, which I wasn't really up to, because we moved and, then I thought, no, I need to be up to this. And I kind of got my mojo back after the move, and I'd been through a divorce and blah, blah, blah. And I thought, but I'd been separated for years earlier. It was just like the technical part of the lawsuits, So I was like, okay, I wasn't ready for that, but I went back and visited my mom in Australia, who has passed away since, but somehow that regenerated me, seeing my family. And I got back and I thought, that's it. I need to get back my mojo, because I lost my mojo with all that going on, Sometimes you just lose your mojo. I thought, I'm just going to keep it going for now. So I thought, okay, this is going to be hard. So it really is. We really do need to have grit and resilience. And we need to say, look, what do I want? What do I really want? What is that going to take to get that, and do it? But this halfway thing, that's what kills us psychologically. That's what makes us hate our lives, is when we know it's not working and we're not taking the courage to go do what you need to do to make it work, even though it's really hard. That's where people know they're not doing it, and it's a terrible way to live. And that's where the stuckness comes from.
Yeah. We work with a lot of small business owners, and we can kind of tell right away within a couple of visits with them, the ones that are actually going to do something, because most small business owners, our listeners, a lot of them, they're doing things the hard way. And so when we introduce a new way, if they don't take action immediately, we know that they're probably going to stay stuck, if you will, because they feel like they're working so hard. I don't have time to change something. I don't have time to learn something new. And so that kind of aligns with what you're talking about. It's like, I don't care if I don't have time or money. You invested on more credit cards. I'm going to make a change. And you did. And look what happened.
I became $1 million. I mean, I have to pinch myself every day that I'm at 3 million now. I mean, if I had not woken up that morning and said, I'm going to change it, and it's going to be hard, because it wasn't like I had a great mindset. I was kind of depressed, actually. I had a low-level depression. And I thought, I got this low-level depression. That might be full-blown. I better watch that too, right? Because things weren't really going well. But, from my kids' point of view, I just wanted them to not have unhappy lives. So I was like being cheerful and, doing what we need to do. But inside, I was dying. Thought, oh gosh, they're going to see I'm a fake soon. I wanted to, keep that going, that they had that stability, that things were fine. They didn't know what was going on when they were at school. I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
But that's hard. And if, again, we need to ask ourselves, what do I want? And then, am I willing to do what it takes to get that? And if the answer is no, then be at peace. Look, I don't want to do what it takes. Good. Then you got to be at peace with that. But it's that in-between thing of saying you want something, but not being prepared that kills us because it's unclear. It's all good if you say, you know what? I don't really care about getting to XYZ in my business. I just want to cruise for now. And I'm good with that. If you really are good with that, great, be good with it. But then don't have to want stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Now, what I was doing wasn't working. It was hard work. Going out and networking, that's hard work. I wasn't lazy.
Yeah.
I was networking like mad. I knew so many people. Networking like mad. That was not my market, though. The out networking. And I did a lot of talks and hundreds of people, still no clients from it. People would approach me and then they would chicken out. So I thought, that's not where I'm welcome. Like, as far as that's not my market. So I could do that till I'm blue in the face. And it was not easy. It wasn't like I wasn't working. I thought, I'm spinning my wheels. So that's also a big trap for business people there, but I'm working. I'm doing stuff. Sure, but it's not the right things. It's the same things over and over, as you said, that aren't working, right?
Yeah. Yeah, we hear that a lot, where people are always networking every day. And they'll come to us and say, I'm out there I'm crushing it, but I'm not getting business. And we'll ask them, have you ever thought about you're in the wrong place?
Right.
If you're not getting business, change something. Oh, no. Our target market's there. And I'm like, okay, the results don't say that. So I love you sharing this and validating that.
Yes.
So you're listening to Small Business Pivots, a podcast created for small business owners who are ready to take their business to the next level. If you're looking to take your business to the next level, go to our website, michaeldmorrison.com, to learn how our services can help you. Don't forget to like, follow, and share this podcast. Let's get back to our guest. Do you mind sharing at all some of what you found out that worked for you, some pivots you made along the way, some strategies that you made to help build that business, or is that what you coach?
Sure. No, I'm very transparent. So what changed for me now? The online organic marketing doesn't work for every single business. Like, you can apply it in different ways. Like, I even had like an insurance person. He found me in a group and he goes, I know you don't normally coach insurance people, but I think this could work for me. I said, yes, it would. And he came in and we're still in he goes, look, what I learned from you, that just built my whole insurance team. Doing what you did, but I applied it. And he goes, I knew it would work. So it can work for a lot. And I'll take people if it's going to work. Sure, you can come into my program, so it worked. He's like, this is amazing. I'm still using what you told me and built this whole team. So basically what it is being online. You have access to billions of people. Now, not all the billions are your target market. That doesn't matter. There's millions that are your target market. And instead of going to a networking event and there's 5 or 10 people and maybe one or maybe none, and then you go home and you got their cards, and that's like potluck. Online, there's billions of people and millions of people in everybody's niche, for sure. Okay. So it's being able to sit at home and not have to go out and all the energy of meeting people in person, which was exhausting for me. I only meet people now if I want to go out, because I just want to meet people at a networking event because I feel like it. And it's just more, I just want to see some people, right? There's zero stress or caring about whether I get a client when I go out I don't care. I don't need them. If I do, I do. If I don't, well, that's great, because I'm online. So what I did was I learned how to use my social media personal profiles to create content where people can see what I'm doing, which is great content. I got better and better at that. But when I first started, my content wasn't great. It was, and talking with people to find out like what their businesses are. At first I was doing what you do, and that was all small businesses, but I realized very quickly that coaches really need help. So I thought, this is a huge market where they don't know what they're doing. And I had the whole business marketing 8 years of coaching behind my, under my belt as well. And that became my niche, coaches, consultants, service providers. And basically what I did was, made sure people knew what I do by my messaging, content that shows them what I do, and talking to them and getting in a conversation. And now I have a million. And when we do the show notes, I'll have you do my testimonial link, right?
Yeah.
Hundreds. But I didn't have that. I just had me talking to people and then feeling whether I was honest or not. And most people say, look, Jeanne, today I just finished on a call and this woman said, I have had 9 calls with coaches and I've had I've had 9 coaches. She goes, every single one of them was not really honest, but I see you are. She said, I've never been on a call with a coach ever like this where there's zero BS. Mm-hmm. I said, well, thank you. So they're seeing that also from my energy and how I'm appearing on sales calls. So that's big. And we teach that. We teach heart-based sales in my program as well. Heart-based, no lying, no cajoling, no persuasion, none of that. Just here it is. Can we help you? Let's analyze that. Yes, we can. Do you want to do it or not? So it's really about being authentic, being honest, not being spammy, being serving, and just speaking to people and seeing if they're interested, get them on a call and they say yes or no. That's a simple system. Just have to do it well. That's all.
What is it typically? What's the timeline? 3 months, 6 months, 10 years that it would take someone to learn your system and then apply it and then kind of see some results?
We're really quick. We have a 12-week accelerator, and it is an accelerator because to me, money loves speed. And, but we also have a year because then people get other strategies that I do because I want to help them. Some people want to get to high 6, 7 figures. So we're not going to do that in 12 weeks. That's unrealistic.
Yeah.
Right. Like never going to happen. It doesn't happen. Let's be real. But in the 12 weeks, they have their system and that they can replicate over and over. And we want to give that in the 12 weeks. And a lot of people will say, no, I really want a year with you. I just want a whole year of coaching with all the coaches. Or they'll do the 12 weeks and then they realize this is working and they still need a coach. And I'm the one because I helped them get to that. So no, it doesn't. I've had clients come in from scratch, and like one client came in, never coached before. She worked in corporate coaching within the job, but it wasn't like a coach. And she said, I've been 4 years, I've been wanting to do this and I've seen you. And I said, let's talk. She gets in, she goes, I'm doing this. I'm going to manifest the money. She manifested a credit card that day. She had almost 11K worth of clients within 1 week. She did exactly what I said. She did the work. And then in 12 weeks, she had 30K in cash in the door from clients. And she lost 13 pounds because she felt great about her business and life. This is someone, and this doesn't happen every time, but we have also helped a lot of coaches start their businesses from scratch. And they don't even have to be certified. It's like, what are you good at? And they're like, well, I'm really good at this. So we're not gatekeepers. Some of our clients are certified coaches, very professional. And some are people that really good at helping with something. And we just position them, and we help them get a high ticket offer. And it is the best way to get cash in the door these days is to position yourself as a high ticket coach.
Yeah.
It's the quickest way. So I figured this out, and I like helping people do that because then it's not like that long thing. Oh, I have to get certification. Well, not really. If you're good at it already. Are you good? Yeah, I am. Okay, we're good. And meaningful wealth, not like, okay, now I'm going to become a coach and I'm going to take 2 years selling $100 packages and go through that slow burn that we all went through. I wish I'd known I didn't have to now. So my thing is shortcutting things for people by getting rid of limiting beliefs that the industry says you have to do, right? Like we have people come in and they're like, I want to be this coach. Great. And they're like, oh my gosh, I just got my first client for $3,500 and I'm just starting,
Yeah.
Cassie, the one that I'm telling you about, she got her first client for $4,500, first client ever. Just I positioned her. She said, can you do it? Yep. So it's also a confidence thing that we help instill in our clients. Like, yes, you can do this. And no, you don't have to go through all that pain because everybody says you do. Yeah. That's just ideas, right?
Is your program for small business owners, or is it mostly for consultants and coaches?
It's mainly for coaches, consultants, and online service providers. And I will analyze whether it will work, whether organic online marketing will work for a certain type of business. Because every now and then I'll say, that could work. Let's talk about that. But like, yeah, it can be applied in a lot of things. Actually, I had a flooring company want to work with me.
Hmm.
And I said, this would work. This would work. And I said, okay. So I always analyze the company if it's somebody that's not a coach, service provider, or a consultant.
How do you determine their value? What are those price points? Because I know a lot of companies, they undersell themselves. Their prices are way too low and they do that to compete. But your high end, how does that work in today's economy when people are struggling to make payroll or something in their business? How do you set that value or help them determine that value?
There are two types of people. One that sees price and one that sees value and results. So, for instance, if I'm speaking and I have a very high-end offer for CEOs of multi-million-dollar companies, which is not this one, it's way more expensive than my normal prices. Now, if I speak to one of these big CEOs and they're running a $10 million company and blah, 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 and I say, that offers $250K. Okay. It's $250K a year. It's also like private label advisory and confidant, because I have all that mindset and executive coaching and life coaching, all of that. Sometimes it's crisis management. Sometimes it's leadership. It's usually a lot of things together. All of these things are losing them a lot of money. If somebody's not a good leader, they're losing money. We all know it. Okay. If they're not good at sales and their sales team they're losing money. If they're not doing the marketing, they're losing money, all this stuff. Okay. If they're having a life crisis, they're losing money every time. So if I speak to that person and I'd say, okay, in a year, we're definitely now, for instance, an example was I spoke with somebody who had a company that each client would pay them 60 to 100K per month recurring. And these clients stayed with them, okay, for a long while. So safe to say, if I helped a company get one client, there's a ton of ROI there, right? We already know $250K for Jeanne. She helps them get one client. That client's probably going to pay him, if they're there just for 12 months, $1 million, right? Usually they're there for longer, blah, blah, blah. So now that business owner could say, okay, it's $250K. The price is, it's so much. Or they could say, wow, the value and the results are just one client in a year minimum. And they I did speak with somebody like this and they agreed, probably you would help us get more than that. But the person couldn't see the value of the investment. And that's what's important. So when coaches come to me, I was just showing you like a very extreme, but real occasion. For me, if I were that owner, like, okay, this is it, 250 minimum. And they agreed that minimum, we probably at least get one. That's good value. Pay 250 and you're going to make $1 million. Who wouldn't do that? And you have a system in place and your leadership problems are fixed and your sales problems are fixed and all sorts of personal stuff is fixed in the deal. Would you, as a business owner, would you think that would be a good idea to hire that person or not?
Yeah.
Right. So you see value.
Yeah.
Some people just see price. So for the coaching, when people come in, okay, they're like, okay, high ticket. We work with these people. They know what they're doing. This is the investment. Those are the people we attract, not the penny pinchers that are never going to get anywhere because it's all about, I'm budgeting, I only have this much. They're not seeing that it's an investment, and a business owner needs to invest in development. They need to invest in coaching, and sometimes they need to invest in advertising, depending, right? So they need to invest in business building. If they don't get that, they're amateur, because that's not how a business mind works.
Yeah. So you may not have an answer for this or maybe a tip, but a lot of business owners grew up maybe lower middle class. And so when we start thinking like, I'm going to charge 5,000 for this when I'm used to charging like 100, like you kind of compared that earlier. How did you overcome that mindset of I'm worth more, people will pay this? Because you were mentioning that you were getting $100 here and there and struggle networking and just grinding. And then you move to this high ticket. I mean, that's a total shift in mindset that I know a lot of small business owners just cannot fathom. I could make millions versus I'm struggling to make 100,000.
Yeah, no, I had already the offline. I had a 30K year offer offline. Okay. But then when I moved to the lower investing in yourself mentality place, I had to actually start charging less because I just thought these people are never. No, I did get one client at that, but I found that person. Okay. So I still had that, but still $30K for the year for one-on-one coaching. It's not that much for me. Like I would never do just $30K for one-on-one coaching with me because that's not my model. And there's a lot of, that's why I charge $250K now for that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I had a high ticket thing, but I felt that I was like having to give deals just to get the client. Do you know what I mean? So it kind of went slid. So I already had the high ticket mentality coming online. When I saw the bad quality of coaching that goes on and how much they were charging, I thought, oh my gosh, I'm so much better than this. And we are. I mean, like people come into our program, they say we've never seen this level of support, dedication, and caring and results ever for this, for the price, especially for the price range we're in. What we help our clients with is the results thing. Now, if somebody's going to coach with you and you're going to help them make XYZ, you're a good investment. Like, oh, okay, I get that. So we have to help our clients understand how much value they're bringing because it's not just the price. If you're coaching with, an executive coach, let's say, executive leadership coach, and that person's going to go in and completely turn your team around and just going to up the bottom line of the company and everybody's going to be happy. What's that worth to the company? Is that worth $1,000? No, it's worth a lot more than $1,000, right? Yeah. So the value is not always in money. Relationship coaching. I was talking to one of my clients yesterday about this. She said she paid $10K to a coach to fix her marriage. And she was so inspired, she became a relationship coach herself. And I said to her, what was that? She goes, oh, it's well worth the $10K. She goes, we're happy. She goes, that was priceless. So that's not a money thing, but how many people listening, how much is it worth for you to fix your relationship or your how much is that worth? Most people, if they're not cheap and they really understand life, they're going to say, well, I'm miserable in my marriage. It's worth everything. And I'm going to pay $10K to fix that because it's going to fix so many other things. We're going to be happy. Our kids will be happier. If they have kids, I'll probably do better in my job. Life quality. What's that worth to you?
Yeah. Amen.
What's it worth? A lot. And I'm not talking about money here. So it's not just about ROI with money. It's ROI with life, happiness, lack of anxiety, peace, moving forward. I mean, let's face it. How much does divorce cost? Much more than a 10K, much more than a 10K relationship coach. And a lot of the relationship coaches don't even charge 10K. They're having to convince people, yes, your relationship is worth $2,000, So that's my thing is like, what's it worth to you? Whether it's life, health, what's it worth for you to get rid of your diabetes? Really, what's it worth? Yeah. For me, if I had diabetes, it would be worth everything. If I had a coach that could coach me through that too, because that ruins your life, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Learn to earn, but there's a cost to that learning, whether it be resources or time. And as a business coach myself, just a tip to listeners, I invest and commit to X amount of time every day to learning. I also invest a certain percentage of our revenue in personal development. So
there you go.
Constantly learning. Like to me, the value of learning is so important, whether you're a coach, a small business owner, or a spouse. You've got to keep learning. And I appreciate you sharing all that because that is so true, so valuable.
It is valuable. And you know what most people don't do? They don't have a budget for development. Your budget in your business, you should be setting aside a budget for investing in the business, i.e. coaching or learning or courses or something. And I don't mean buying a book twice a year. I'm not saying, oh, I've heard people say, well, I buy a lot of books. You can't build a business just by reading. You just can't. It's not enough. Sure, reading, podcasts. Some people just overwhelm themselves with information and they think that that's going to get them, they're going to get it all for free. Well, when you have that mentality, just remember, you're going to attract people that want to get it all for free because what you put out gets in. So there's reciprocity. Some people call it law of attraction. I call it reciprocity. What you are putting out, like an attitude. Well, I can get it all for free. Well, that's what you're going to attract people to you that also believe they can get it all for free. And why should they pay you if there's a lack of alignment? It's sort of hypocritical in a way, right? Like, well, I don't want to pay people, but I want people to pay me. It's messed up, right?
Yeah.
And when you point this out to people, they don't even realize it. Like, oh, I never thought of that. Yeah. So, you know what I mean? You can't operate in one way and one way, and then the other way It's got to be free flow of traffic there, right?
Right.
So this is what's mind blowing to people is they've never heard of an investment budget. That's a real thing.
Yes,
High
it is.
performers have an investment budget that they say, okay, I'm using this much of my to actually get coaching and to move forward. Most people, it's like, well, I'm making this money and they're meeting out like the little bit. When they change their mindset that you have to have an investment budget, then it's like already in the budget.
Yeah.
Now what am I going to spend it on? Very different mindset.
How would you encourage, we're almost out of time, so kind of the last question, how would you encourage your prospects to find, obviously come to you, but there's so many options out there and so many business owners and coaches have gotten burned by so many programs. What is kind of a red flag that if they say this or they promise that, what are some things that they should look for when they decide to pay for a high ticket item?
If the salesperson says, we're going to promise you, 100K in 3 months, run.
Yeah.
You can't promise that because no one has a crystal ball of who you're going to meet, whether you're going to do it. That's insane. And a lot of people fall for that. Well, I said, but they can't promise that because you would need a crystal ball. So that's just, there's what they're selling you on is the dream. And they're selling you on your wishful thinking. And that's not fair to sell people on a wishful, and like Facebook ads, people do it all the time. Oh, yes, you're going to pay this much and you're going to get this much. And they do it. And that's just that. No offense. Some Facebook ads people do a good job and there's some good ones out there. So no offense to you, good ones. Most of them are not honest. And most of them, it's just churning. They just run it. They know it's not going to work, but they promise all sorts of stuff. And especially coaches are so helpful. So hopeful that they're going to have the magic wand of ads and they won't have to market. But see, that's the problem. We need to learn how to market and just do the hard work. And if you have a big budget for ads and you're okay throwing 50K down just with the testing, go get it. Now, I have run a lot of ads and I knew that was going to happen. I'm just like, well, you know what? I'm going to run them. I know we're going to lose money and we have, but I still keep testing because I want to know the alternative to be able to say, this is what goes on with ads because I've spent 60K in ads. I got 2 clients or maybe even more in ads. I've tried Facebook, Google, Insta, YouTube, tried them all so that when people come to me and they go, oh, I want to run ads, I'll be like, whoa, guess what? Here's what I do with ads. And they listen because they're like, okay, Jeanne tested the ads and they go, okay, thanks for telling me that. But if I didn't do that, then I couldn't position the organic as working better because then I wouldn't know any different. Right.
Yeah. Right.
So when they're over promising results, you can't promise those kinds of results because they don't know what's going to happen. It's like you saying to your small business people, hey, come in and work with us and guaranteed you're going to get another, let's say 200K per month guaranteed. You can't do that. You can't guarantee zip.
Nope.
Because you don't know if they're going to do the work and you can't predict whether your tests, because business is testing, you can't predict whether your tests are actually going to work that well or how quick, or you got to test, right?
Yeah.
You kind of know it's going to work, right? But you can't guarantee because it's different business. We all know this. And that is why no business consultant or coach can give that kind of a guarantee. We could be sued. Yes.
How can people get a hold of you? We're out of time here.
Oh, well, this was a pleasant chat. So, you'll have in the show notes the reviews page and just to show the hundreds of results. And there's a booking link in there. Also, I'm all over social media. Jeanne Omlor on Instagram, Jeanne Omlor on Facebook, Jeanne Omlor on LinkedIn, because we work on all 3 platforms. We also literally just got on TikTok to test that one. So that's where we are. All over the place.
Cool. So I encourage everyone to go find you and follow you. I know I've been following you. You got lots of great information out there that you put out. Any last words of wisdom before we sign off here?
Yes, you got this. You're worthy and ready right now. The only difference between me and you is no difference that I just did something, and between those people that are millionaire or whatever, and there could be people that are already doing very well, multi-millionaire, whatever. Those people are you. They're just a few steps ahead of you. It's you. They're not them and you. It's all us.
Sound advice. Well, thank you again for your time. I look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you.
Welcome to the Recap and the Coach's Corner, where we share actionable advice that you can implement in your business between each episode. Today, our recap is simply Never stop learning. Learn to earn, as I always say, no matter what age you are, no matter how many times you have to start over. Never stop learning to earn. Ray Kroc is an example. Warren Buffett, the inventor of Coca-Cola. Colonel Sanders. Our guest today, and yours truly, Michael Morrison, is just a handful of people that had to start over or got their real riches after their 50th birthday. For me personally, if you followed me at all, you know that a business partnership I was involved in imploded. The business filed bankruptcy. I filed bankruptcy and started over, and I'm doing better than ever. Never stop learning. We hear that all the time, but it's true. If you need help, reach out to me and let's talk about it. Our Coach's Corner, similar to never stop learning, is figure out that one thing in your business that's not working and stop doing it. It's a two-part Coach's Corner. Stop doing it and go find somebody. Go find a coach, a program, a course like our guest or our courses that we have. Go not only stop doing what you're doing because it's not working. Go find a professional, someone that's figured it out, and hire them. Or just reach out and see if they'd be open to a 30-minute conversation. That's your Coach's Corner. I hope you enjoy our episodes. If you do, please like and share, and we'll see you next time.